where are we in the Jesus movement today? How close are we to Jesus? In the story that we read in Mark just now, you notice that Jesus is trying to get away from the crowds, but they don't want him to get away from them. And so even if he goes around the other side of the lake, they gather all the sick people, put them on mats and go around. And they just want to touch Jesus. And Mark says that anyone who touched even the very fringe of his garment, they were made whole. And so that's the question for us, and certainly for me, if not for you. How close are we to Jesus? How does Jesus touch you and me? You know, we have that song, "He touched me, oh, he touched me, and oh, na, 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 na." How does it go? Sometimes it happens, and I am oh, he touched me and made me whole. Yes. So we have that Jesus song, we have that Jesus connection. And so we have to ask ourselves, what is it that we know about ourselves that creates for us this sense of an indwelling, a connection, a means by which we can say that we are a part of Jesus and Jesus is a part of us. We have that wonderful song, "What a friend we have in Jesus, all our sins and griefs to bear. What a privilege to carry everything to God." Yes, so we speak of the friendship of Jesus, the friendship of Jesus, because he is a part of us. And we have our own sense of Christian identity because he becomes for us the means by which we understand ourselves. So, what are some of the characteristics? How can I understand what is involved in following, in sensing the nearness, the presence, the active engagement of Jesus in my life? First of all, I think that I must have a vibrant faith. You have a pen? Anything to write? Write that down. Yes. I'm sorry, I'm a teacher, so as soon as I start to preach, please forgive me. A vibrant faith. Vibrant means lively. Vibrant means intelligent. Vibrant means active. Vibrant means that it's not just a mouthy thing. Vibrant means action. Vibrant means responding in a particular way. So that just in a few moments, as we begin to say the Lord's Prayer, the creed, we believe in God. The question is, what does it mean to say that we believe in God? What is it all about? So it seems to me then that this sense of familiarity, this sense of friendship with Jesus, this sense of touching and being touched by Jesus requires a vibrant faith, something that is intelligent, using our brains, using our minds, a vibrant faith that has a way of not being ashamed or afraid to say who we are and where we are going. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning. It's one thing to sing it, it's another thing to believe it and to make it really live as part of our vibrant faith. Secondly, I think that we must have moral courage. Moral courage. James had moral courage. Mary Magdalene had moral courage, and she was not afraid to stand by the cross of Jesus. And you know, St. Mark says, in describing that crucifixion, they all forsook him and fled. But Mary did not. She stayed by the cross. And then the next day when she was going back, she went with spices along with some other men to anoint the body. Courage, commitment, dedication, devotion. But it wasn't only just this nexus, this linking between herself and Jesus. It was a moral courage. And moral courage comes out in so many ways, especially when it comes to the truth. The truth. How courageous are we not only to embrace the truth? How courageous are we to speak the truth? How courageous are we to live the truth and to love it in such a way, even if the truth does its own thing? Because you know what the truth does, don't you? Yes. The truth discloses more truth. The truth generates more truth. Yes. But the truth also hurts. The truth also hurts. But there's something about the truth that we learn from St. John. The truth has a way of setting you free. And if the truth sets you free, you are free indeed. So moral truth has everything to do with, moral courage has everything to do with integrity. It has everything to do with transparency. It has everything to do with standing up for what is right and just and fair. We're living in an age when nowadays there's a trend that we're going to try and get rid from DEI. Anybody heard of DEI? Huh? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. 10 years ago, companies, colleges were introducing it, and they set up offices. But nowadays, it's being said that it must go. It must go. I can't be political in here because it is not my church, but you go outside and you read it, because there is this great movement to get rid of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We have to have the moral courage, if we are followers of Jesus, to make sure that we stand up for what is just, to speak what is true, and to make sure that there is equity for all. Why? Because you and I are made and sustained in the imago Dei, two Latin words which simply mean the image of God. So you have that? Okay. You want a third one? Okay. A third one has to do with how we get along with one another. And I speak of this as healthy relationships. Healthy relationships. Jesus said, if your hand or your foot offend you, cut it off and cast it from you. It is better to enter into the kingdom with one eye or one foot, one hand, than to have your whole body to be cast into hell. And so for you and me, quite often, we have to re-examine our relationships with people, how we deal with them, how they deal with us. Because, you know, I learned when I was very young that a person is known by the company they keep. A person is known by the company they keep. But a person is also known by the relationships they create. And so quite often, there's some relationships that are not good for us, and some that are good for us. So I believe that if we are truly followers of Jesus, being touched by Jesus, then we have to examine constantly our relationships with other people, how we treat them, how they treat us. Are they good for us, or are they good for nothing? And it is better to make sure that we clean up, because the smell of bad relationships can always get us into trouble. And so fourthly and finally, I know I'm going on long, please forgive me, yes. I won't be here next week, so it's all right. Yeah. The fourth one has to do with compassion. Compassion. Relentless compassion. Because compassion is an attribute, a way by which we understand who Jesus was. And as you know, Jesus was the supreme manifestation of what we mean by God. So relentless compassion means that we can't be seasonal. We can't be sometime-ish. You ever heard the word sometime-ish? One thing today, another thing tomorrow. You can't afford to be like that. We have to be one where we are always compassionate, relentless compassion. It means giving, it means sharing, it means understanding, it means loving, it means walking in other people's shoes, it means bearing one another's burdens so we fulfill the law of Christ. Relentless compassion is so important for us if we are going to say that Jesus touches us and we touch Jesus. And so, my dear friends, here we are today, living in a world that is full of what I would call the negative and minus forces of life. There are so many things out there that induce us not to be Christian. There are so many things out there that induce us not to follow Jesus. But if we are following in the footsteps of Mary Magdalene and St. James and all those other apostles who gave their lives for what was right and just and true, let us go forward, identifying ourselves as followers of this great Master, Jesus, Master and Lord. Go forward, have a vibrant faith. Go forward, be courageous with the truth. Go forward, clean up your relationships, and if they're bad, cut them out. Because what is important, it is better to have those that build up rather than pull you down.